So unfortunately I didn't record as much video from me with commentary throughout the weekend as I was kind of hoping. Now, that was mainly because I was struggling for time, and to be honest, I didn't really want to jinx the weekend. And to be honest, I think we achieved that pretty well. So let's get into the video, and we'll cover what we can live on the video stream. Otherwise, I'll cut back to these clips and we'll outline exactly what's going on.
So we've just finished the first day of practice at the Bathurst 6 hour. We're pretty happy with the car thus far. It seems to be behaving quite well. We've touched wood. Thus far throughout the day, we've been pretty happy. Practice 1, we set a PB for the car, which was a little bit surprising, to be honest. P2, we were just knocking on the door of what that previous PB was as well, so as the temperature came up, we were pretty happy with that. And practice 3, we went out and we're a little bit further off the pace, but we ended up finishing the day every session as P1 in class. So I'm really happy with that, but we won't can our chickens before they hatch. We'll get into it tomorrow. We've got another practice tomorrow and a qualifying, and honestly, we'll see how we go. Keep doing what we're doing. All we want to do is finish this race and have a good time doing it.
practice 2 and 3, where we had the live recap, we ended up going into another practice session on the Saturday. We went into that with the goal of looking to effectively just test out what the car's race pace was like on full tanks, see what the car's behaviour was like. So we ran that session on reasonably high tanks just to see where we sat. We're quite happy with the race pace and where we kind of sat. It was looking after the tyres, it was looking after brakes, and we felt quite comfortable going into the qualifying session. So at that point we basically called it. We ran minimal laps in the final practice session on Saturday. Then we sort of prepped the car to go into qualifying.
Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. One winner. 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Breakfast? Maybe I should have had breakfast. A little brekkie could be good for me. No, stay focused. Speed. Faster than fast, quicker than quick.
into qualifying, we ended up putting a fresher set of tyres on that had been roaded in practice for. They'd done very minimal laps, so we're quite happy with the way that they were behaving, set the pressures. I knew that the first or second lap was going to be the absolute fastest that the car could do. So we set out to make sure that the pressures were matching and that the gap to the cars in front and behind was going to be ample, that we weren't going to get interrupted on a qualifying lap. So heading into qualifying, we went out of the pits and basically warmed everything up. Unfortunately, there was a bit of oil dropped at McPhillamy Park, so that was going to sort of hamper our qualifying pace as we sort of felt out how it was going to feel. Now, on the quali lap, when we finally arrived there, I sort of hopped to it reasonably quickly and went into the first lap aiming to set that as my qualifying lap. There was a little bit of tentativeness across McPhillamy Park and heading down into Skyline, because at the end of the day, we're there for the race. We're not there for a qualifying result, but a qualifying result is always a bonus. So on that lap, the Motec didn't actually give me any delta. It didn't give me a lap time. Obviously, I missed the beacon on the main straight on the sort of roll-up lap. So I jumped on the radio and said, "Oh, what was that time?" And they said something, 33. I went, no, not true. There's something funny going on there. I must have misheard it. So I continued on my second push lap. And the second push lap, which I was really, really pleased about, the Motec proceeded to give me delta, and I ended up at a 34.8, which was 4/10 faster than the previous year's pole time. So I was stoked with that, thought that that was the duck's guts, and at that point I basically went, no, that's all good, let's park it for the session. That'll do us, let's not tear the car up. Came into the pits, and they came and told me, no, you did a 33.9 on the first lap, and the second lap was a 34.8. And I was just dumbfounded. It was phenomenal pace from the car, like we honestly couldn't beat it. So that nabbed us pole position for Class C for the race. The next nearest car was, I believe, a 38. They didn't put fresh tyres on, and they didn't put their quali driver in that they previously used, so they're giving one of their other guys an opportunity. And like I said, we're there for the race. Like, a qualifying result is awesome, but hey, it is what it is. Like, you either get pole for class or you don't. Best not tear the car up in the process. So we're extremely stoked to get a class pole in the Gulf, and couldn't beat that feeling. You really couldn't. race, we basically went through the car, did bolt spanner checks, made sure everything was good, put the rubber that we we're going to run for the majority of the race on, and just see how is this thing going to behave. We did the warm-up, only did a couple of laps, we were quite happy with that on Sunday. Then just parked it and let's go into the race with the nicest car we possibly could. So early in the stint, we held on to our lead right up till sort of the end of the stint. We were sort of blocked by a couple of slower cars that were in high classes, but that was okay. The Class C Scirocco got past us right at the end of our stint. I jumped out of the car and Dad jumped in the car, and he did an awesome job throughout his stint. We ended up getting back into the class lead, and right before the pit stop we were 2 laps up on our nearest competition through great strategy by the team and awesome pit stops. Those guys did a fucking awesome job right throughout the weekend. Cannot fault it, and just an awesome group of guys to have around. I jumped back in the car again, and unfortunately fairly early on in my stint was the accident between the Scirocco and the Camaro, so that unfortunately put those guys out, and they were probably our closest competition in that race up to that point, and the next nearest car was approximately 4.5 laps behind. So we knew that if we just stroked it round to get to the finish and the car behaved itself, that we were in for a good result. So probably partway through that stint, I jumped on the radio, and I know that Dad really wanted to finish the race, as he decided before this event that this was going to be his last Bathurst endurance race. He had a 24-hour class win, a 12-hour class win, and the 6-hour was kind of the last one that he wanted. But either way, we're going to have a good weekend. The only goal was to finish. But the car was in a pretty strong position, 4.5 laps up. We still had one pit stop to make. So I made the offer, would you like to jump in the car, Dad? And he leapt at the opportunity with probably about 45 minutes to go, I believe it was. It might have been a little bit more. He jumped in the car to finish off the race. So and he took the checkered flag, and we ended up managing to get the win in Class C. And I believe we were 17th outright. I can't recall the exact finishing position. I'll put it up on the screen. But what an awesome weekend. Like, to finish off the race, we've been racing in the Bathurst 6 Hour for 10 years now. I debuted in 2016 after Dad wasn't well. At the time, it was my 18th birthday on that weekend, and we ended up finishing that weekend. It was a pretty big shocker. Early on in the weekend, we blew an engine up. We had to go buy a whole car to get an engine. So we fixed the car up. Then during the race, we're sort of about half distance, and our front right wheel stud sheared during my stint and put me in the fence on my 18th birthday, which was an interesting one. So that was kind of my first experience at Bathurst. Ever since then, we had reasonable success with the golf. The first year out in the golf in 2018, we managed to get a third in class, and that was alongside Dad and Dom, who was driving for us at the time. That was an awesome day out. And the following year, we were running as high as second in class, and we unfortunately ran out of brake pads because we were trying a different material. And after that, the highlight was sort of, we got a class pole in, I believe it was 2022 or 2023, in Class D with Tweedy, our R56 John Cooper Works. But since 2018, we'd never gotten a class result. We'd been struggling to get to the finish each time, be it mechanical dramas, or the cars got crashed, or it's just a huge amount of issues. So we decided that last year we were going to do it just Dad and I, and unfortunately I crashed the car out on the 9th lap on a safety car restart. They checked up the queue, and we took the front off the car. So this year it was very much let's get to the finish. So that was our sole goal. If we're at the finish with a straight car, good things will come. So that was our only goal heading into the weekend, and sure enough, we basically kept the car straight in practice. The car seemed fast. We knew that we weren't taking too much out of the car in practice. Both us drivers knew what we needed to do, and we set a lap time for the race, and hey, we stuck to our lap time pretty well all day and came away with a class win. So to come away with a class win and do it alongside Dad with a team of great mates and family, half the team was family, half the team were great mates. Like, you could not beat that feeling. The team was exceptional. Thank you so much, guys. We can't thank you enough. We really can't. And we couldn't have done it without you. We really couldn't have. So this is just as much their win as it is ours as well. So to cap off Dad's Bathurst career, he managed to get his 24, 12 and 6 hour win. I believe there is only one other driver, correct me if I'm wrong, that has that achievement. I believe it is the only other person is Colin Osborne, who Dad achieved the 2003 win with. And in 2010, he was driving for Osborne Motorsport in the 12 hour as well. So pretty awesome for Dad's Bathurst career, if I'm honest. And I'm so pleased that we're able to do it together in the golf. Now, we're going to take a couple of years off the 6 hour. So the golf's going to be mothballed for a little bit. And we'll be back in a couple of years' time. We'll see how we go. So it'll be a bit of fun when we come back round. In the meantime, we might see us out at a few more 300k races. Next one up, we're going to be running the R53 at the Sydney 300. We've got a couple of awesome guys coming over from WA to have a steer, and we're looking forward to that. I might have a steer in one of the support categories in one of the other cars, and yeah, it should be a good bit of fun. So we'll see you in the next video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you then.